Okay, so the way I see it is there's three things for a hamstring pull, okay? Three things that I follow to get you back to play as quick as possible. So, number one is going to be start to introduce load at length, right? And it can be very, very little, okay? So, rehab is just lower level loads that bleed into higher level loads over time. So, whatever you can tolerate. So, we're going to start to put force into the tissue at length, okay? To remold that tissue, to send blood flow, to talk to the fibroblast and say, like, hey, lay down tissue here, right? Good quality tissue, okay? So, we're going to do that. And then as it starts to feel better, you can, increase intensity over time. But you want to train it at length, okay? We want to train it in a shortened position. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And then regressions to progressions on that. And then the last one is usually you do it in an explosive thing, okay? Like sprinting or something like that. And in this case, you were asking because she's playing basketball. So we want to start to introduce that stuff back, not at a high level, obviously, right now with it being pulled. But you don't want to do nothing because the body will naturally kind of heal itself and then go back to play and then pull it again, right? Because you never really addressed the issue in the first place. So you're going to start with tempo runs as the third thing, okay? And we'll get into that too. But all right, so here's the first one. Here's how you're going to train it at length. You're going to find the doorway, and if you can try to put your butt all the way up to it and get a big stretch like that. But again, if you need to regress, you can just scoot away and just find something that feels. I always play on a pain scale. I always tell people 1 through 10, 10 being just super painful and 1 being, really don't feel it. You always want like under a 5. You don't really want to be over a 5. So a 4 is fine. So let's just say I scoot up a little. I'm like, ooh, right there. I feel that a lot. That's like a 4. Like I can feel it kind of in that pulled area in the hamstring, but it's tolerable, right? But I can feel a little bit of stress. All right. And then what you want to do at the beginning is you can get to where you do really hard contractions, right? And increase the intensity. Obviously with the intensity increasing, the time is going to go down, okay? Because you can't hold something crazy intense for too long. Nervous system just won't do it. So, but right now in the early stage, I want you to build up like 5 minutes of time under tension in the stretch, but also just with like really low level contractions, okay? So if you can, you may just try to push into this for 5 minutes, okay? You could push into it for a minute, try to lift off for a minute, play with regressive and progressive angular isometric load. But you can also do a minute, and if that's all you can tolerate, you can come out of it, and rest for a second and then get back in and kind of chip away. That's something you can do at first, especially if it's like just really, really bothering you or it's pretty stressful. So, but you want to spend 5 minutes here, pushing in, trying to lift off, okay? That's step 1. That's training the hamstring at length. Okay, piece 2 is going to be a hamstring curl, okay? Hamstring curl isometric, so training the hamstring in a shortened position, okay? So there's a couple options you have here. All right, I like it on an elevated, okay? So you're gonna put your heels on like a bench or a couch or a chair, something around this height, and then you're just gonna glute bridge up, and then you're gonna try to think about dragging your heels to your butt, okay? And that's gonna light the hamstrings up, all right? And I'm gonna hold that there, okay? Notice kind of the knee bend. I don't want really a 90-degree knee bend, but I also don't want my legs too straight. Just a good little knee bend right there. And again, driving the heels towards the butt. I can feel the hamstring a lot right there, okay? And then you just want to build up time, right? So ideally, I'd like to see, sets of a minute. But just like anything else, maybe it's like 10 seconds, and it's like, oh, okay, that's enough. Set down, okay? Let it rest. Shake it off. When you can go again, get another 10, okay? And you can do cluster sets. You can do 3 sets of 10 seconds. That's a set, and that equals 30 seconds, right? And then you can do 3 sets to get to, a minute and a half. So there's some options there. But I would say the goal is to build up to where you can at least hold for a minute, really driving the heels into the bench. Now, the progression that I really like to do for people is after that becomes pretty easy. You can hold for a minute, and you're rolling, then I want you to go to single leg, okay? So then I can go single leg. And maybe when I go to single leg, because now obviously I don't have both legs supporting, it's a lot harder. And now maybe I'm like, oh, okay, I can only hold for 10. Then rinse and repeat what you did before. You go 10 seconds, let it rest, 10 more, and then maybe another 10. But you're just building time under tension, okay? And that would be the progression. Now, if both are too hard, if this is even bothering and it's over that 5, like we talked about on a pain scale, you can always take the elevation away and you can just do a glute bridge. But then push into the ground and think about pulling the ground towards you, okay? Pulling the ground towards your butt with your feet. So you can always do that as well. That would be a regression, okay, before going elevated. So that's how you train your hamstring in a shortened position. Okay, and step 3 on return to play is just gonna be those tempo runs. All right, so what that is same thing as far as we're just decreasing force to increase force over time, right? To get you back to play. So you're going to start with runs at about whatever you can. So there is no right or wrong, but maybe it's just a little faster than a jog. Maybe it's 40% at the start, okay? So you're gonna run the length of a basketball court or 20 yards or whatever if it's outside, okay? But you're gonna run a decent distance, right? At about whatever intensity you can take. You gotta be careful with sprinting if it's like, oh, I think I can take more, and you go right up to 80 and it's like pulled, right? Because there's just a lot of force generated fast before you even know what happened. So I would follow some kind of like guideline of like week 1, only 40. Week 2, it depends on how bad it's pulled too, right? Like maybe only 45, maybe only 50. I've had other people where it's like, we're gonna start with 60. 60 feels good. The next week we're gonna go 70, and stuff like that. But we're just kind of listening to our body. But anyway, I think you understand the point of it's like, okay, let's go 40%. We do that for a week. Okay, now we go 50% effort. We do that. And then it's like anything else, as the intensity is less because we're not at max effort intensity, you don't have to rest as long. So that's why it's called tempo runs. Okay, so it may be like run for 20 seconds or run the length of a basketball court, whatever, 10 seconds and rest 30 and go again. And you're just doing it like that, right? And then as time goes on, that rest time is gonna start to increase and the intensity is gonna start to increase, okay? So when you get up to 70%, maybe you're resting a minute. When you get up to, 90%, 100%, then you're resting the normal. That's max effort sprint training, speed training, and you're gonna rest upwards of, 3 minutes, 2.5 to 5, something like that. But that will help a ton. Hope this video helps, and that hamstring will get better if you give it the right inputs and increase the intensity and progress it over time. It will adapt.